This is Cruise Control.
Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome to your on-air automotive magazine. Oddly enough, it's mine too, and it's the other guy, Fred Staub, you're about to see and hear. This is your on-air automotive magazine, and as a magazine, we have a lot of stories.
Yeah, we sure do, Les, and there's quite a range of stories this week, and we're going to start with oil briefly dipping below $100 a barrel this week.
Yep.
Last time I checked, Brent crude now was back up to $107. But does that mean pump paint may be reduced? And it may be reduced. So we'll talk about that.
Yeah, it may be. And Ford is leaving out features. Boy, we're hearing a lot of that. And adding blank off plates. I have not seen a blank off plate since the 60s.
Yeah, that's the plate you get when you just don't order the radio. Or
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we'll talk about it because what it means, Les, is when these cars are in the used market a few years from now, what will it mean when it's just a plate where those features used to be? We'll talk about that. And could Audi be talking about getting into the pickup truck business? Well, a journalist asked a question, just a crazy question, shouted it out to the Audi boss, and he actually gave a real answer, and it could be surprising.
It could be. And could a new assembly plant for Rivian mean the end of automotive dealers? Well, I'm telling you, they're sealing their own doom.
Yeah, they sure
the
are.
Dealers, that is.
They sure are. And as the Tesla turns mega edition, a massive across-the-board price increase, we're talking multiple thousands. Terminated truth teller, somebody who said, hey, this full self-driving doesn't really work. Well, that person was terminated. And Elon wants to punch out a tyrant, but he's told he may need to pump up first. I heard pump you up. I really did when this guy said
Wouldn't you like to see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll tell everybody, but they probably already saw it on TV.
Yeah. All that and more when we get rolling on this edition of Cruise Control Radio. I mean, Elon Musk just doesn't disappoint. It's something new every week. And, you know, there's always one in the automotive industry. It used to be Bob Lutz and then Sergio Marchionne of FCA, and now it is Elon Musk who is the gift who keeps on giving, but we're just going to keep giving it to you here on Cruise Control.
It's easy for us. All we do is rip and read.
Yeah, you don't have to make it up because the guy does crazy things. Yeah, so all that and more is coming up on Cruise Control. We will be right back, so stay tuned. Check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com, where you can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. It's all there, cruisecontrolradio.com.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. The other guy you're about to hear is none other than Les Jackson. And
Yes, indeed.
we're gonna.
I'm actually not at my desk. I'm at the oil pump.
You're at the oil pump you put in your backyard too.
That's right. Waiting for it to climb past $1,000.
Well, it's interesting this week, Les. Oil actually briefly dropped below $100 a barrel. As I said during the open, Brent crude was at 107 last time I checked. At its peak, it had hit $123 per barrel. And, of course, gasoline, by me, I know is running about $4.39 a gallon. Has it changed by you at all?
About the same. I actually filled up earlier in the week at 403.
Wow.
I actually felt like I was getting a deal.
Exactly. Well, they tend to lag behind several weeks, but this drop could mean lower prices at the pumps, according to Andrew Gross, who's a AAA spokesman. I guess it depends. It's sort of like the oil industry took a hit, and then they've kind of, certain suppliers have stepped up to replace Russian oil, and I guess that means the market is kind of settling a little bit, right?
Well, yes, but there are some other factors, because we have we have different oil industries in different countries.
Yeah. So
and the U.S. oil industry, we produce all but just a few percent of what we use, and it's very. I'm quite angry about this. It's very irritating, to say the least, that the government, the Congress, isn't forcing our oil companies, which reduced oil production in the U.S. before COVID started, or when it started, by 13%.
Because people weren't buying it. They didn't want to.
And they have held it there until this past Christmas, and they're still reducing by 8%.
Interesting.
And no Congress, which of course is paid off by the oil lobbyists, hasn't jumped on them, because 8% more oil production means we wouldn't have to get any foreign oil.
Right.
So
we don't know.
So who's to blame here?
We don't know what's going to happen in Ukraine and how long it's going to go on for. But
worldwide, it's just so dicey.
Yeah. So interesting, though. Perhaps a little bit of reduced pain at the pump, but what do we have coming up? And not too long from now, but we have the beginning of summer, don't we? And the prices always go up during that time.
They always go up because travel goes up, and the demand increases. But so personally, I think we'll be down to the mid threes by May.
Okay.
I'm, just sort of guessing. It's an educated guess, but it's a guess.
All right. Well, the good news is that means a little less pain at the pump. Supply has been good. I haven't found any shortages anywhere.
No, me neither.
But the numbers have always been up easily over $4. And I tell you what, just like it pays to shop around for a car, guys, use gasbuddy.com or websites like that. I mean, I see certain stations in my area charging $5.50 for a gallon of gas when you can and get it for $4.39. Why pay more? The gas is the same, and that person's just taking your money, right?
That's right. And remember, if you have a vehicle that generally uses premium, you don't have to use premium
right for
the time being. You can use 87 octane. your engine will not be harmed. It must run properly by law.
Mm-hmm.
It's been built into the computers for 25 years.
Yeah.
So save some money.
Right. It basically just dials back the tune a little bit.
That's it.
Little less performance. Interesting, before we've said this on cruise control, Mazda is one of the manufacturers that actually lists horsepower on premium and horsepower on regular. So, it's not going to hurt your engine.
It can't.
In any way, shape, or form. So, hey, you're listening to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. When we come back, we'll tell you about the return of blank-off plates in cars. Oh, my. Stay tuned to Cruise Control.
I just...
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. Les and Fred here. Hey, Fred.
Yeah?
You remember the old days of vehicles when if you didn't get a radio?
Yeah,
especially you, because you drag race.
I had a car with a radio delete in it, but I did put a radio in it.
Well, yeah, but it was the dashboards looked so sad.
Yeah,
with that, the plate was the same color as the dash, but it just looked.
Les, you're talking to a guy where they had blank offs for missing switches, and I just bought a switch to put in it. I didn't have anything to use it on, but
I did too.
It looked terrible without it. It looked like this blob of plastic there.
I did too. I had a convertible Mustang that didn't have a power top, so there was plate right there on the on the dash for the power top switch. So I just put a switch in there.
Right. Well, those days of blank off plates are returning.
Yes.
And bring out the broken record, Les, because it's due to, guess what? The chip shortage. And we've been telling you about this on the show for a long time, that manufacturers had vehicles building up. They couldn't get parts, so they started deleting parts from the vehicles that they didn't have to save on chips. Now it's the Ford Explorer this week. It's the rear seat climate controls. They control heated seats and the climate control. And they're just going to throw a blank off plate there. And eventually, when they get around to it, according to the Detroit Free Press, Explorers will be shipped without the controls for the rear climate system. And when they get around to it, theoretically, they will install these controls again. For the moment, Ford says customers are getting a $50 credit for, in the case of the F-150, for accepting it without auto stop and start.
Which Harvard Business School weasel decides that it's a $50 value?
I don't know. And
I want their names.
What is the guarantee that you will get these parts when they come in?
None.
You know, and as this article points out, this is going to be what they call a minefield in the future for used cars, because dealers are not going to go through and say, oh, well, this one never had the rear climate controls installed, or this one never got stop start again, but it does have the button for it, or this one, and so someone's going to bring it in and say, hey, I can't control my air conditioning, and they'll say, well, it doesn't have the controls for it, or hey, I've got the button for heated seats, but they don't seem to be working. Oh, well, that's because the parts are not there. But they'll still list those vehicles as having those features because, they're not going to go through and look at each vehicle. And so it creates problems for small car dealers, used car dealers, and things like companies like Carvana, because you got to call all this stuff out. And many people just won't return to the dealer to have them put in, and who knows if they ever will get them put in or be offered.
Well, I'm willing to guess that 3/4 will never get them. And the problem is the value of the used car is based on those options.
Right. Oh,
which you got $50 for.
Right.
Right. Now, what you can do, because I've been an expert witness in a number of these cases, is you can sue them under Magnuson Moss, which we won't explain what that is. It's too complicated. But you can sue them because it's essentially a breach of warranty.
Can you say I was sold an incomplete vehicle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the same as if someone said, oh, I forgot to put the starter on the engine.
That's right.
But it is a new vehicle,
You have to sue the manufacturer. It's not the dealer's fault.
Yeah.
But this is going to backfire really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's folks, it's something. We're talking to you now from the future. You say, okay, oh, look, there's a nice Ford Explorer. It's got the such and such package. It should have heated seats in the front and the rear. Oh, rear climate control. I like that because we have passengers in the back all the time. And guess what? You get there and everything's blanked off, right? I mean, the wiring will still be there.
The wiring will be there.
But if you go to buy these parts, they're going to be expensive.
They will be. I would love to hope that the manufacturers will create aftermarket kits for these to be installed. But
we don't.
It's a hope.
Yeah. It's just something to think about for the future. If you are buying a vehicle that was made in the last couple of years, How long? When did the chip shortage actually start,
It
Les?
started in 2020, but it didn't show up until late 2020.
Right. Good times all around, isn't it? So,
Yeah, it's been a real carnival.
yeah, exactly. Let's talk a little bit about an interesting thing that happened this week. Um, and it has to do with Audi's CEO, Marcus Duesman. He was being interviewed by Autocar, and which is a European magazine, and it was sort of a question shouted by a reporter as he was leaving the room about, hey, is Audi gonna get into the pickup truck business? And the response was, I can't promise that we will do one, but we're looking into it. Interesting, right?
If they say that, then they mean they're going to do it.
Well, you think about it, it's kind of ironic because large SUVs started out as pickup trucks. They thought we can make more money with creating a pickup truck and then putting a back on it so you can have a rear seat and a storage area, and hence the large SUV was born. They already had the whole infrastructure there of the pickup truck. We just had to basically add a cap on the back to make it into a large SUV. Of course, it's more sophisticated than that, but
Right.
Isn't it ironic that they may be taking SUVs and making them pickup trucks?
Well, yeah.
Variation on a theme.
What's interesting is that pickups are so popular that brands that would never have considered it are considering it.
Well, Volkswagen has talked about a pickup truck in the U.S. for a long time.
True.
And I would think they would probably be more, because in Europe, Volkswagen is a full truck lineup. They even have Class 8 trucks, which I found as one of the strangest things when I went to the truck show in Frankfurt to see a giant tractor trailer with a VW logo on the front. But I think they will do it. Yeah, I definitely think they will do it. And who knows? Maybe it will be like one of those sort of pickup trucks, like Santa Fe, like I just reviewed, or the Honda Ridgeline. But I don't know. We put it in the comments. Would you like to see Audi build a pickup truck, and what would you base it off of? I think if they built a pickup truck with the VW brand, it would be based off the Atlas, and that would be a pretty handsome pickup truck, don't you think?
I think it would, but my question is, would they be something that could sell in countries other than the U.S.?
I don't know. I can't answer that. But the takeaway is we probably will see some kind of Audi Volkswagen pickup truck. Yeah. All right. When we come back, we're going to tell you about the potential of a new plant, automotive assembly plant, to get rid of dealers, auto dealers. What are we talking about? Well, we'll talk about that, and we've got a massive As the Tesla Turns. Stay tuned.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. The other half of the operation is none other than Les Jackson. And we are here with you, telling you a lot about what's going on in the automotive world. Blank off plates, high gas prices, Audi pickups, and potentially, Les, the end of automotive dealers. I hear cheering.
Well,
out there.
it's going to happen. There's a massive groundswell everywhere to do this.
Well, they haven't made any friends during a time.
No.
Yeah, you know, they feel it's their option to just gouge. I told you about the story of the $5,000 market adjustment to a Honda Civic. I also told friends last night, don't buy a new vehicle. They had one that's fine. It needs new tires. I said, get new tires.
Get new tires.
Get new tires, and it's not the time to sell something that's working that you just want to change up to something different. Unfortunately, you'll be in for a world of pain. and they're like, okay, we'll wait. So, but anyway, let's talk about how these things seem disconnected, but we'll tell you how they are connected. Rivian is building a $5 billion plant in Georgia, a $5 billion assembly plant in the state of Georgia. And what they want to do is make the idea of, we'll build this plant if you allow us to sell directly. If you change your dealer. And of course, Rivian makes electric pickup trucks. They're ramping up production. They've had their troubles. I mean, they had a problem where people had locked in a price, and they said, we're going to have to raise it because, things have changed since we've put this vehicle together as far as costs for parts and pieces. They also make a SUV based off of that pickup truck, all electric, nice vehicles, innovative designs.
Mm-hmm.
But they're saying to the state of Georgia, if we build this, we want to be able to sell directly to our customers and not have to go and have dealers. And of course, the dealers are pushing back on this, but they said it would only involve electric vehicle manufacturers, not all dealerships. So I think it's an innovative tactic, and it puts these politicians in a good spot because, well, how can they say, well, oh, you know what, I'm going to block this plant that would bring 7,500
That's right.
good paying jobs. And of course, as you know, if you bring in a plant that size, that means all the suppliers will be within 20 miles because it's just in time supply. So that could mean thousands and thousands of jobs, tens of thousands of jobs,
and millions upon millions in tax revenue.
Yeah.
If
They have a big lever there, don't they? They have some good leverage. Yep. Because you don't want to be the person that said, hey, so I'm sure the car dealer lobbyists are gearing up with
well, they're going to try,
junkets.
but basically this is walking into the legislature and saying, well, I have a deal you can't refuse.
Yeah. It's HB 460. And it's interesting because what do you think? Do you think, not that they ever admit it to us, but do you think like GM and Ford and Stellantis would like to sell directly if they could? I believe they would. I
believe so.
And people say, well, where would you get your vehicle serviced? Well, you would get it serviced by factory actual factory people in a service center in the
Well,
factory dealership, right?
or yeah, or the dealers, the existing dealers, of course, who will sell used cars and service. They that's where they make their money.
Yeah, they don't make it
Uh,
off of selling cars.
well, they are now, but they
Well, yeah,
normally don't.
if you just say, hey, it costs 10,000 more than the sticker, yeah, you make that 10,000.
Yeah. And historically, the relationship between the manufacturers and the dealers has never been great.
So they may see the emergence of electric vehicles as a good time to rethink this relationship,
Yep.
as a good time, and dealers aren't helping themselves now with, helping themselves to those market adjustments. So really, this may be the future. We may see this as a lever to say, I will build that plant and bring those jobs in. The people that are working at the dealerships, as far as service and things like that, are not going to lose their jobs because they would just go and work for the company, right?
That's right. And by the way, I was just past the National Auto Dealers Association headquarters this past Thursday and reminded myself that it's a big 12-story building, office building. And basically, they only occupy now about 2 floors. They used to occupy the whole building.
Wow.
They've been slowly, over the past 15 years, just dwindling away as a powerful influence.
Yeah. Interesting. It could definitely change the way you buy a vehicle. And I think, I'd rather deal with the company. Wouldn't you rather deal with the company if you bought something and you had a
Same
problem
here.
and say, oh, we'll bring it in and, we'll fix it up, and it would end probably haggling. It would mean that buying a vehicle was buying a vehicle, if that's a
right.
sticker, and then could it lower prices? Well, we'll talk about what happened with Tesla, who does sell directly. I still don't understand how he was able to maneuver that in certain states.
Yeah, which is a different thing.
Conversation.
The only thing left over is the used car trade-in thing. But I believe that used car, well, like CarMax and Carvana, that's how you trade in your used car. You just sell it to them.
I was reading something where somebody sold I think it was one of our automotive journalist colleagues, and they posted on Facebook. They sold a Jaguar, their Jaguar, recent Jaguar, not a vintage one. They said it was painless. The guy came, he walked all around it, took some pictures, started it up, said, I'm going to drive it for like 10 minutes. And he said, fine. He came back and he said, yep, sounds good. He put a sticker on the dash. He had the seller lock it up and gave him the keys, and he left it parked there in the street until the flatbed came the next day and picked it up. And he said the price was good. There's no haggle. And it was all good. He said it couldn't be easier. They're like, we'll take it. Sounds good. And to me, that's the future, right?
That's it. Yeah, it's efficient. It makes an awful lot of sense, and nobody likes to sit around a dealership for 2 or 3 hours being worn down,
being worked. I always felt worked, like you're being worked, and it was a show, and it was a show for no reason. Let's have fun. We're buying something fun, don't you? Like when you buy something, a bigger item that you've been waiting on, anything like a TV, a computer, or whatever. It's kind of fun. You get it, you select it, you order it, there it is, and then you learn about it. And I think that those hijinks at the dealer takes the fun away from it.
I fully agree.
And it's so much effort for them. It's like, why do this? whole show when you could just sell it. You know, things like in your state, $1,000 to fill out paperwork. I mean,
Right.
that's wrong. That is wrong.
It's
I'll bring
that's
my own
just
pen.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I
So,
can go to the DMV and get my own license plates.
yeah, exactly. So, anyway, well, we'll talk about it. We'd like to hear what you think. Leave us a note on comments on our Facebook page or on any one of our social media outlets. We appreciate it when you leave us some feedback for that. But look into the future of buying a car. When we come back, the Mega Edition as the Tesla turns. There's a lot going on this week, and it could get violent. So stay tuned.
Uh,
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. I don't have the violin. So just pretend you're listening to Hearts and Flowers.
Yeah.
Because it's As the Tesla Turns.
Yeah, our own little soap opera about Elon Musk and his world, and the world of Teslas. And like I say, we'll point out good things. There's not a lot of good things this week. I guess one could be sort of good thing.
One entertaining.
Entertaining, yeah. I don't think it would end well for one of the people. But anyway, so we start As the Tesla Turns this week with every Tesla model getting a massive price increase.
We told you so.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
So here's the range from 2,000, that's the lowest price increase, to the largest price increase of 12,500. The rear drive Model 3 with its standard battery range was increased by $2,000 to a starting price of $46,990. And the long range and performance models have been handed a $2,500 and $3,000 increase.
Okay.
And the Model Y long range have been increased by $3,000. And here goes the Model X and the Model S. The Model S long range all-wheel drive will cost you $5,000 more, so $99,900, while the Plaid is now $6,000 more expensive at $135,990. Crazy, right?
Pretty soon we're talking real money. Now, why do you suppose these expensive models are jumping in price? I understand the lesser ones because, his cost of building them were really high.
I think it's because he can do it. He can do it. I mean, I think I think some of the components did go up in price, and we have inflation, but I think he can do it. People buy it. So that's it. If you can get away with it, he can do it. It is his version of dealer's market adjustment, But people buy these things. I see them all around. I don't quite get it, but that's me. But and me and you. And they still the doors don't fit right, or they're
still
there's one where they put various different color interior parts inside, like you order a beige interior and some of the trim parts are silver and some of them are beige, and none of them are completely attached correctly. So I don't know. I guess just good enough and high price goes along there. Well, let's talk about this as part of our As the Tesla Turns. Tesla fired a whistleblower who leaked full self-driving footage. Of course, full self-driving is the idea that it is an autonomous level 5 vehicle. Of course, Elon Musk says this is ready to go. Most people say it is not ready to go.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So this person named John Bernal lost his job because he posted test videos of the Tesla full self-driving software to his YouTube channel, AI Addicts, and he showed how it would fail and hit cones and things like that. He said he did not divulge company secrets on any of his channels, nor did he show any unreleased software or products. In the video, he showed a Model 3 veering erratically into parking bollards, those are those poles, for seemingly no reason. The incident caused minor damage to his car, and he was verbally told his videos were a conflict of interest and he was fired from
Well,
Tesla. Now,
They're a conflict of truth.
now, what's not clear, it wasn't while he was driving a company car and testing it. That, to me, I think might be a problem. But if it was his own car and he had bought it and he had turned full self-driving on and then it screwed up, I don't think that's a problem for posting that. Probably not smart to do if you want to continue to work at your company, because there's a saying that you don't do something where you eat, if you know what I mean.
I have a neighbor up the way who just bought one 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we were standing outside in the nice weather this week, and he was telling me this is fully autonomous. I can plug in my destination and sit in the back seat.
Oh, no.
And I said, listen, you've got to trust me on this. I'm an expert on this. Do not do that. You will die.
Yeah, first off,
you know,
it's incredibly illegal.
Of course it is.
And
Course it is.
it's not going to work.
But he was, I mean, not that I think he would do it, but he was just so confident in the BS that he's been fed, that this is autonomous. And I explained to him why it's not.
Right.
And all of the other factors. And he, he took it well.
Did your finger get stuck in the 1.5-inch gap between the doors?
Oh, I was afraid to lean on the door.
All right. Well, that was a cheap shot, but let's talk about this. This was the bizarrest as the Tesla turn story.
By the way, I have to applaud Musk for doing this.
Well, he knows how to work social media, let's face it.
Sure.
So he challenged Putin to a beatdown to the finish. He says, I'll take you on hand-to-hand combat, single combat for the fate of Ukraine. Okay. I think Musk is a genius guy and very interesting. I don't think of him as a cage fighter, though. Do you?
Well, in my estimation, he seems to be very, very fit.
Oh, okay. I can. I don't know.
And
he seems fit.
as a world-class athlete myself.
Well,
that even makes me laugh.
I don't. He said he would fight him for that. I don't know. I guess he would get a plaid if Putin won. He would get a Model S plaid. But anyway, so it got even weirder because this Chechen leader said he was saying this to Musk. You need to pump up those muscles in order to change from gentle Ilana, of course, playing on his name, into brutal Elon, into the brutal Elon you need to be. I've virtually heard in my head, I'm going to pump you up, from the old Saturday Night.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yes. Now,
and Putin, then Musk changed his name on social media to Ilana. Isn't that funny?
That's pretty cool. Now, I'm aware that Putin is a 4th-degree black belt
judo guy.
Judo. I have a black belt in dancing, by the way.
You live for
my
the
feet
dance.
are lethal weapons. But but Putin is 69 years old.
I haven't thought about the actual physical nature of this.
Well, it would never happen.
No.
But it's just fun to
It would
speculate.
be the ultimate pay-per-view event, though. So
imagine what they could charge for
that.
the pay-per-view.
Hey, we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control Radio. I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We'll see you down the road.
Bye.